I'm 21 and I just discovered that pickles start out as cucumbers. What common knowledge have you picked up recently? I recently found out that water towers aren't for water storage. They are just there to add water pressure. This explains why building water towers never helped in SimCity. I grew up only eating venison anytime we had steak, so until a few years ago, in my early 20s, I thought all meat that you ate at a steakhouse was deer meat. My dad had to tell a Navy buddy that steaks were made from cows. Poor guy was horrified. He was like, no, I've seen cows at petting zoos, they are so cute. Navy buddy was from NYC, and this was in the days before the internet. Until very recently I was under the impression that dishwashers fill up completely with water while they are operating. The shame. I thought this also. My SO made fun of me because I would put plastic things under glass things so that they wouldn't float around. Never had one until recently. How the heck should I know? Until I was about 17 I thought the Arby's logo was a fish leaping out of water. Had no idea why they didn't sell more fish. The day I realized it was a cowboy hat, I yelled in the back of a friend's car, "It's not a fish at all," followed by a very long silence. I thought that it was an oven mitt. That the word veggie isn't pronounced like weggie. It took me 4 years living in the US, I'm German, until someone told me. I had ordered weggie wraps on multiple occasions. Nuclear vessels. Not me, but my best friend. We were watching TV and my cat jumps into her lap. So naturally, she pets it. After a few minutes, my friend screams, "Oh my god, something wrong with your cat. She's vibrating." I jump off the couch to have a look. Long story short, my 20-year-old friend just learned cats purr. I'm 22 and this was new to me recently as well. Obviously I knew that cats purred, but I didn't grow up with pets and didn't know it was so. Vibration why? When the smoke detector went off, I found my 24-year-old roommate spraying air freshener up at the ceiling. Long story short, she just learned that smoke detectors don't smell, they sense smoke. Stupidity level, Amelia Bedelia. For the longest time as a youngster I understood that salt and pepper cancel each other out. This led to many culinary errors. I figure out mistakes some time ago. Yeah, I'm wicked smart, but this is for sure relevant. 2 of my friends just discovered that clothing companies sew pockets shut, I believe to prevent people from putting things in them before purchasing, and that they weren't always just fake pockets. Whoa, I did not know that. Time to cut open some pockets. I recently blew my roommates' minds by informing them that polar bears don't eat penguins as they don't even live anywhere near each other. YouTube only started on the 14th of February, 2005. I feel like I don't even remember life before I could just watch videos online. I had always thought that chocolate truffles were the same thing as the expensive fungi that pigs dig up. Maybe they just cover it in chocolate, or something. I thought this would always cause me to avoid eating chocolate truffles when offered because I felt bad eating something so expensive if I could help it. My wife won't let me live it down. Before I saw much of the penguins, at age 20, I thought penguins were between 5 and 6 feet tall. I still get ridiculed about this because I flipped my crap in the theater. Emperor penguins can reach 4 feet in height, so you're almost not completely wrong. Growing up, the water system in our house worked in such a way that if one person was in the shower and another flushed the toilet, the shower water would become scalding hot. As a child, I was drilled on the rule that no one flushes a toilet when someone is in the shower. Before anyone showered, they would announce, "I'm taking a shower." No one flushed the toilet. I mostly took baths. Showers were for big people, and before my bath, I would also announce, "I'm taking a bath." No one flushed the toilet. My parents repeatedly tried to explain that it didn't matter for baths, but I knew baths and showers were essentially the same. My parents tried to explain, but I was stubborn, so eventually the reason was because that's how it is. And being a kid, I just took it for granted and never thought about it again. When I was around 15, I was in the bath and suddenly realized that the water didn't get hot because it was no longer running. Loofahs, like you use in the bath, are the skeletal form of a vegetable, a bit like a cucumber. I thought they were a sea creature like sponges. I'd always thought they were synthetic. until I bought a cheap one that still had the seeds in. Was kinda creeped out for a while. The complete saying Rome wasn't built in a day, but it did burn in one day. Edit. As mentioned by Wazowski, this is a new construction. The complete proverb is just Rome wasn't built in a day. I stand corrected, and the dude who told me will be corrected tomorrow. Happy as a clam at high tide. That a second as a unit of time is so called because it is the second division of an hour by 60. Made me feel dumb for not putting it together earlier. So then a minute should be called a first. At 24, I found out that soup is cold around the edge of the bowl. This was brought to my attention by my 7-year-old cousin who saw me burning my mouth on the Christmas Day starter. This is a revelation. No more tongue burnings for this guy. I'm 30 and it took my wife within the last few years to explain to me the joke what's black, white and red all over. Since elementary school I've thought it was commentary on violence in the media. I was a weird kid. Been watching Sesame Street with my first child. Realized that the count, vampire, counted. My husband, fellow redditor, was disappointed in his marriage choice. His vampirism is counting related also. Eastern European folklore holds that one method of escaping from a vampire is to scatter a handful of salt or rice in their path, as they will be compelled to stop and count every single grain and cannot move on until finished. Crazy. In Britain, what you call pickles, we call gherkins, and pickle is a generic term for a savory chutney like preserve, usually consumed with cheese. In the US, gherkins are pickled baby cucumbers. Your pickle is just called chutney, or farmhouse chutney, but isn't very popular. I expect a lot from this thread. I recently picked up how to tie my shoes using the over-under method. I still prefer using the bunny ears method. The song goes dirty deeds and they're done dirt cheap. I've been singing Dirty Deeds and the Thunder Chief for about 15 years. I always thought it was done with sheep. This might be a result of my Scottish heritage. Guinness Book of World Records came from some Guinness guys sitting around and drinking beer and talking about the biggest this and that. One of them says, we should write this down. Drinking Guinness, I suspect. My mother used to tell my siblings and I that if we play in rain puddles that we could catch polio, so we wouldn't jump in the puddles and ruin our clothes on the way to school. My younger sister just brought it up in one of her college classes recently. She was way embarrassed. You could catch polio from a rain puddle if someone with polio pooped in it. One day when I was about 25, my friend was driving me to the Grove, huge outdoor mall in LA, and as we were circling the parking garage she stops to wait for a spot. I ask her, how do you know they're leaving? She's all reverse lights. I reply, reverse what you know? Those white lights come on when the car is put in reverse. Is that a new thing up? Number. She stares at me blankly. We're 30 now and she still teases me about that crap. In the song I saw mommy kissing Santa Claus. That the dad is dressed up as Santa. I sincerely thought mommy was kissing on Santa Claus. Not in an I'm all grown up and thought mommy was a cheating W kind of way, but I just imagined her giving him a sweet innocent kiss on the cheek for being Santa. Because Santa's awesome. I was listening to the radio this past Christmas when it came on, and after paying closer attention to the lyrics, it just dawned on me. I told my boyfriend when I got to his place that night, and he just burst out laughing at me. I told my mom at a later date, and her confirmation is what made me realize that this was apparently common knowledge. I'm 22 and this is news to me. For a long time, like up until college, I thought the Pulitzer Prize was the Pulitzer Prize. I knew it was an award for writing, but thought that the prize itself was different every time it was awarded. Like one year it would be a new car, the next it would be a Hawaiian vacation, like a game show. I just realized that deer have the caught in the headlights reaction because in the wild, they freeze when predators are nearby. I thought they were just stupid. Edit. Also, 20. The difference between a fruit and a vegetable is that one has seeds and the other doesn't. Wait, no, one grows on trees. No, that isn't right either. Frick it, never mind. Thanks to another Reddit post today, Japan made it instant, but ramen originated in China. Ramen is the Japanese pronunciation of the Chinese lo mein. I'm almost 43 and about 4 years ago I learned that on every car's gas gauge there is a small arrow pointing to which side the tank is on. That would have been helpful for all the rental cars I've used while traveling for work over the years. You are still wrong. These are not on every car, although they are very common on newer models. After watching the show Californication for 5 seasons, I just last week realized that it was a portmanteau of California and fornication. Before I thought it was the act of becoming more Californian. Guessing you're not a Chili Peppers fan. I was in my 30s before I realized why marshmallows and gelatin are not vegetarian friendly foods, although I think that Jello, brand gelatin, has been reformulated to leave out the animal byproduct. Peanut butter and jelly sandwiches are actually peanut butter and jam sandwiches. I didn't realize Americans had a different word for these things, Irish BTW, and for years though Americans ate peanut butter and Jell-O on bread, I couldn't figure out how this would work. I recently had to explain to my BF the difference between a turtle and a tortoise. He thought they were the same thing. Until I was 21 I didn't realize that Popeye was saying I'm strong to the finish, cause I eats me spinach. I just kept wondering what the heck a finach was. Okay, so this is gonna get buried, but it still gives me a good chuckle. When I was a kid, Dad would get us gorilla nuts for a treat. They were super yummy. I think I was 14 when I learned they were called kiwi fruit. When I was 17 or 18, I grabbed one out of the fridge and it hit me why he called them gorilla nuts. Only time in my life I've ever laughed so hard, I literally couldn't stand up. On a similar note, it wasn't until I was 20 that I found out that kiwis are not, in fact, spicy. I'm just allergic. Equals. With over 8,000 comments, no one will ever see it, but until I was about 20, I thought that there was skim milk, 1% milk, 2% milk and 100% milk. I wondered aloud why it jumped from 2% all the way up to 100%. I mean, why can't I get like 50% fat milk? Hanging out with some friends and watching ducks swim around when one of them ducks into the water for food. A minute of silence is broken by the question, is that why they call them ducks? Minds blown all around. Considering I listened to the Beatles since I was a small child, it took me the longest time to realize that their name was a play on words and not just another way of spelling beetle. Like, a beat. Oh my god, I have the dumb. If it makes you feel better, I was told the same thing at 24 by my ex. She asked me where I thought pickles came from, and I simply never gave it consideration. I'm 28 now and a few months back I realized ceiling fans have switches on them that reverse their direction. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.